the settings on here that I don't think I got around to. Subscriber only chat, very important. Let's flick that over. So if you're not a subscriber and you are dead set on not subscribing, you better comment real quick or you're not going to make it. Oh, let's turn off that. Ah, there we go. Yeah, that's what we want. Cool, so I hope everybody's good out there. I've even got my whiteboard ready for today. I thought it might be cool to do some teacher type stuff. I've been wanting to get back into the live lessons, and as I said, I think on the previous one, I had the mic that I clip into my phone that I use for live videos. The mic broke, and to do a live drum lesson, I need to be sitting quite far away from the phone, and without the mic, it wouldn't be very good quality. So, as a bit of a go-between between the normal chats that we have and a live lesson, I thought, bring out the whiteboard and try and share a couple of ideas and shed light. Hopefully, I haven't planned anything for this, but hopefully share a few ideas and some of the terminology that I often use on the channel, on the videos. So it's good to see you guys there. Greg Mann, hello. Gabriel Chavez, hello, sir. Pierre G, cheers from Quebec City, Canada. Church of the Holy Mo, greetings. Church of the Holy Mo, I think you've been enjoying some of those chats I've been doing with some of my teacher friends here in Auckland. Pulling back the cover on some perceived myths. Those videos are really fun for me. Started with, what was it? Talent, gear, teaching, technique, and there's a couple more as well. And those are just our thoughts, so it's not to say that we're right or wrong, it's just our thoughts on those things. I did want to do a little bit of housekeeping. So I asked for this. Was it the last video where I suggested, let me know any major drummers or drumming videos that I've missed so I can hit those. And I got a flood of really good requests. I also got a lot of requests for people that I've already done and videos that I've already done. So remember, you can check out the reaction video playlist on the channel, and you can just search in there and search for a name, and if you're looking for someone, you'll find it that way. How about we start today? Christopher Shapir. Hi, Andrew. Hello, Christopher. How are you doing, man? Why don't we start today with subdivision. Subdivision is something that I talk about a lot on the channel. I don't know where everybody is placed out there in terms of understanding those kind of terms. And in the middle of a video, I might just throw it out and not actually talk about what subdivision is. This is more stuff that we're going to get into on the live lessons as well. Most of you will know that you count music, or you can count music. You don't have to count music, you can count music. So let's say we've got a bass drum note. Again, bass drum terminology, right? So bass drum is the drum that you play with typically your right foot on the drum kit. And it makes the big doof doof sound or boom sound, right? So let's say we've got one bass drum. It's a really thin marker. Hopefully it's coming through all right. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 bass drums. Now we're going to count those bass drums. 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is our bar of music. Why do we count to 4? because we're playing in what is called 4/4 timing. A lot of people don't know what this means, 4/4 timing, or sometimes known as common time. This number refers to how many. This number refers to what type. 4 quarter notes. Everybody with me? Four timing. So we count to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. For most music, definitely Western music, this is, this is what we're dealing with. We're dealing with 4/4. 1, 2, 3, 4. The old church clap. Although there's always someone who's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. No, no. Friends, don't let friends clap on the 1 and 3. Major criminal offense amongst musicians to clap here. You want to be clapping here and here. 2 and 4. Okay. Now, if we put a snare hit on each of these bass drums, so we've got our bass drums down the bottom. We've got our snare drum in the middle. Don't laugh at my writing. I always write in all caps because I'm old and I yell. Okay, so far we are playing quarter notes. Now, coming back to the subdivision thing, this is really important to understand before we move on. What if we want to subdivide those beats? So we play another bar with 4 bass drums in it, 4 snares in it, but we want to play more notes, right? More notes. We can move up a subdivision and we can add in a snare hit between each bass drum now. So we can do this. Now what we're doing here is we're subdividing the beat. My writing is better than this. This pen is awful. Really important. Before we move on, already a lot to unpack here. We're playing in 4/4 timing, which means 4 quarter notes per bar. Down here, when we've subdivided the beats, we don't go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We don't say that. Why? Because we're playing in 4/4. We need to stick to 4. So instead of that, think of this when you think of subdivision. You've still got 1, you've still got 2, you've still got 3, you've still got 4. In music, we say and. 1 and, 2 and, 3 and, 4 and. Now you're subdividing. Hopefully that makes it a little bit clear. You can keep subdividing as well. Gabriel Chavez looks a little bit tiny, is what she said. Church of the Holy Mo. Spinal Tap drum auditions. We just need someone who can count to 4 a lot and doesn't have any immediate family. That film, I tell you, absolute genius. Doesn't have immediate family. Christopher Chabert, all caps writers unite. Yes. Okay, let's keep subdividing and then we'll move on to some different terminology. Let's say we've got a bar, 1 bar of music. We've still got our 1, 2, 3, 4. We want to subdivide further. We want to play faster within a group, within a bar than this, than the 8th notes. So we've still got the 8th notes in there. Still got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, but we want to play faster within that bar. We add in another note in between each note again, like this. Now if we have that many notes within one beat of music, we no longer have that single beam, we have 2. So that's where this thing comes from. Let's do it again. Subdivide the next beat. Again. Again. Now we've subdivided into 16th notes. E and R2, E and R3, E and R4, E and R. Now the penny dropped for me when it came to subdivision. I've prepared my metronome for you guys. The penny dropped for me when I heard my teacher play this with a click. Because then I realized, you're playing more notes, but the time, the tempo's not changing. You're just fitting more notes into it. I see. So let's say this is our time. This is the BPM of the song. Everybody hear that all right? Okay, we're about to go on this song. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 E and R 2 E and R 3 E and R 4 E and R 1 2 3 4 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 E and R 2 E and R 3 E and R 4 E and R. Subdividing. The song tempo didn't change. You changed what you were playing with in that tempo. Let me know in the comments if this makes sense, if it's interesting. I just thought it'd be something different for you guys to try and clarify a couple of things that I always rabbit on about. The other thing here, I guess while we've got it up, that's what she said, is we've got quarter notes in the first bar, we've got 8th notes in the second, 16th notes in the third. A lot of students, they'll glaze over. As soon as you start talking about quarter notes, 8th notes, 16th notes, just like, I don't know what you're talking about, man. Like, what has this got to do with anything? Listen, all you need to know is quarter notes, there's 4 notes in one bar of 4/4 music. 8th notes, 8 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Although we don't count them like that in 4/4, we count them 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 16th notes. Guess how many notes are in one bar of music? 16. 1 E and R, 2 E and R, 3 E and R, 4 E and R. Or if you wanted to count them individually, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And with that, I'm going to use my rubber. Now we say rubber here in New Zealand, and I'm going to let you guys laugh amongst yourselves while you think about the fact that we call it an eraser in New Zealand, we call it a rubber. Were there any other terminology questions out there? Not that that one was a question, I made that question up myself. This is excruciating. Hopefully it's some nice ASMR for you guys watching me. And then we rub the notes off the whiteboard. I would have used something else, but this actually takes it off pretty cleanly. Look at that. ASMR with with Rooney. Another thing that I always talk about on the channel is headroom. A little bit harder to define than writing it up here for you. Headroom sort of, I guess, relates to what you can play, your active vocab on the kit, and what you've got access to. Facility, I guess, is interchangeable with this. Facility and headroom, two words that I always use. They're much easier to use than try and explain. I think a good way to think about facility and headroom is to think of it like vocab, like your actual spoken vocab and day-to-day life. You know, how big is it and how much control over it do you have? Like, do you understand fully and fundamentally what you're saying in the terms of us or as drummers or musicians, what you're saying on your instrument? How much can you say? How far can you go? So some people can be really, really good drummers without having a hell of a lot of facility, but not headroom. No, that doesn't really work with headroom. How can I put this? You can be a great drummer without having a lot of vocab. For example, maybe you're a pop drummer, and the vocab, the facility you have within pop music or pop style of drumming is really, really good. But you might not be able to expand into other areas like jazz or Latin music or Afro-Cuban or something like that. You know, you could possibly say there's not a lot of facility in those other areas, but a great facility within pop drumming. Who are some drummers that I talk about facility with regards to? Someone like Gavin Harrison, Sir Gavin Harrison. So he is just generally got a lot of facility. He's got a lot of things that he can access, and the headroom within that facility to not only access it, but play it really comfortably and execute it really well. So I think part of headroom, actually both, part of headroom and facility, little insect flying around, is your ability to execute on it. Not only attempt it, but you execute it and you play it really well. Gentleman Cat, I got one, is referring to a group of 3 16th notes as a triplet in a context without proper triplets still a faux pas. That's a good question. That is something that pops up a lot. I would say just about every student gets mixed up with the fact with having 3 notes and then having triplets. 3 notes in a row are not necessarily triplets. I'm going to show you why. If we have 3 16ths in a row, I'll write it like this to make it really clear. Could also write it like this. You'll more commonly see it written like this, and I think this adds to the confusion. 1 E and 1 E and. It's the same rhythm, it just doesn't need a rest here because it gets written as an 8th note. Now anyway, this rhythm is 1 E and. If I keep it going, 1 E and, 2 E and, 3 E and, 4 E and. Let's put it on with a click. So this is not triplets. Let's go slower. So this rhythm here, if I repeat it over and over within a bar, 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and. Triplets are also groupings of 3, except they're evenly spaced. And handily, they often have a little 3 above them, which is nice. Note the counting is slightly different. The way you count it is slightly different. Instead of 1 E and, you typically count triplets 1 and A. So triplets, within that click, when I play this, there's a little rest at the end. 1 E and, 2 E and, 3 E and, 4, before I reload for the next one. 1 E and, 2 E and, 3 E and, 4 E and. Triplets, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. They're even. First one. These 3 are even, but there's a gap before the next downbeat. I'm going to go between 16th notes. I'm going to go between 3 16th notes and then 3 triplets. Both within a click, but different subdivisions, different time feel. First one first. 1 E and 2 E and. Do it with me. 4 E and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. All together. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now, clearly those sound very, very different, right? They both got 3 notes. The tempo is the same, different feel. So hopefully that's clear as mud. Let me know if I've explained that well. This is why the click is so useful. It's the only way of illuminating these kind of ideas. Without the click, I've got no context. So I'm just going 16th notes. Well, it just goes like there's nothing holding this together. And then triplets are, it's like, well, it's really hard to see the difference if you're just hacking it like that. You need an external time source to really, oh, now I get it. And then what I would typically do on a lesson is I would do song examples. You know, listen to this triplet fill, or listen to this triplet feel, like with a 12/8 or something, compared to like more staccato 16th notes. Gentleman Cat, is there any shorthand terminology to quickly say that group of 3/16ths? Is there any shorthand terminology? Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Say communicating to a band member, it's convenient but obviously improper to keep just saying triplet. Yeah, I hear ya. I've even heard music teachers do this, and had to bite my tongue and, you know, hey, when we get to that triplet bit there, and I'm thinking, but it's not triplets. No, I wouldn't dumb that down too much, because then when you actually go to play triplets, you know, how are you going to distinguish the feels between the two? Yeah, it's a hard one. I think if you're playing with other musicians who don't understand theory, that's okay. You know, we all do that. It's tough for them though, because they're not actually in the conversation. They're not really in the fight. And there's not a lot holding it together, if that makes sense. You know, it's hard to, in that room as a group, let's just say you all figure out this part of the song that you're talking about. And using whatever terminology, maybe the guitarist thinks it's always the bloody guitarist. Maybe the guitarist thinks whatever he's doing is triplets, and for whatever reason, you guys made it work in the room. Now that's okay. That's, you know, we can live with that. The problem is like coming back to that or practicing it, and I don't know, practicing stuff wrong or having stuff wrong in your head of your idea of a certain rhythm. I've had this on recording sessions where not really the engineer, it might be, let's say the producer or the artist isn't theoretically up with the play. And yeah, this is a good example. And they'll say, oh, I want triplets in this bit. And when you finally go through a couple of things, you realize, oh, it wasn't triplets. You know, this person doesn't really know what triplets are. But they know what they want, they're just struggling to define it. Now, this is going to be a huge benefit if you do lessons with a really good teacher who understands these things, and you actually want to go somewhere with your career, because if you start playing with really good musicians, they've got all this down. Shorthand, everything's real quick. The better your gigs get, the faster things happen. So the professional theatre work I've done is often no rehearsal. Just you go in and you start playing. And it's just assumed that you're going to nail it and you understand all your music book and everything. And yeah, it's, you know, it might be more, let's say, an original music setting where often, that could happen in covers as well, where people aren't up with the play theoretically, and you just have to work with that. I would never ever correct anyone in that setting. I think, you know, that's just a really crappy thing to do. Can get really awkward and you just look like a dick. You know, you really will look like a dick doing that. You just do the best you can. You might point out a few things, you know. Let's say it was this. You might point out a few things. Hey, in this bit of triplets, you might say, yeah, those aren't triplets, you know. It's not worth getting into an argument about, but yeah, I'm just talking in circles now. Gentleman cat. Okay, yes, I find myself on this often, jamming with others, biting my tongue, as you say. Yeah. Thanks for your thanks for your thoughts, especially on practicing things wrong. Agree heavily there. It's a really tough one. You've jumped on a really good topic. I think I'm going to have to do this as a podcast episode. This is how you can start getting musicians who appear uppity, or it's like they think they're better than the band, and you know that you don't want to be that guy that's correcting everybody. And for me personally, instead of feeling like I should correct something, I tend to just not play with that person again. That might sound really harsh, and I don't think of myself as elitist in the gigging sense. I can work with anyone. I can make it work, no problem. But if it gets to the point where it's just impossible, and you can't communicate, and things are just random and getting played wrong constantly, then you just walk, right? It's not up to you to be their music teacher and explain to them how music works. That does not go well in a band. I find that's a slippery slope, to be honest. And you know, I've been on the receiving end of that as well, especially coming up. You know, drummers are always the ones that are sitting there going, like, no idea what's going on, and there's no need for it. You can understand what's going on in the band. That's funny. With like countings and that kind of thing, you know, if it's just, it can be frustrating. It can be frustrating if things aren't right or things aren't consistent. Because if you don't know what you don't know, right? So, and there's stuff I don't know, of course. I'm definitely not saying that. There's people who might be frustrated at my lack of knowledge on a certain gig. But yeah, it's good to educate yourself. And if someone corrected me, I wouldn't take it personally. You know, I'd be like, oh, cool, okay. I didn't realize that was that, and try and learn more about it. Let's have a look at the comments here. Church of the Holy Mo. 1 and R sound familiar, but seems like 1 and R could be 8th, 16th, 16th. Yeah, that's true. I seem to recall a one lali, but that's in the recesses of my memory. Yeah, that is a good point. Now, this is getting really nerdy. What Church of the Holy Mo is referring to here is with triplets, I at least count them 1 and R. But those do exist within a 16th note grid as well. You're absolutely, that's a very smart comment. You're absolutely on the money. Because within 16th notes, you get that 1 and R. So this rhythm here is 1 and R2 and R3 and R4 and R. Another good example of a 3-note grouping within a beat that's not triplets. Whereas remember, our triplets are evenly spaced. 1 and R2 and R3 and R4 and R1 and R2 and R3 and R4 and R. Very smart. Some people, for that reason, probably for that reason, they will, like you say, what did you call it? One lolly? One lolly. I want lollies now. Lollies are sweets here in New Zealand, by the way. Some people say 1 triplet. Anything with 3 syllables, you're going to be okay. Chocolate. Although I've never understood the chocolate one. 1 chocolate, 2 chocolate. Because chocolate, there's more syllables in chocolate than 3, right? Choco. Oh. Yeah, no, because it'll be chocolate, but with the number. So there'll be 4. Doesn't work. I would stick with 1 triplet, 2 triplet, or 1 and R, 2 and R, personally. Because what can happen is if you do again get into like a higher level gigging situation, people say, oh, on the and of the triplet, and you know you're in a triplet bar or you know you're in a 16th bar, so you'll know where it is. Yeah. This is really interesting to me. So I'm not getting a lot of comments today. This is super interesting. So maybe there is not a lot of interest in terminology stuff, or maybe there is and those people are just listening. I'm not sure, but this is super interesting for me. The questions that are coming in are super smart and on the money. So that's okay. I'm okay with it, but it's just, yeah. I expected a lot of questions about terminology. Who's ready for some more ASMR with Rooney? We're just going to take off the felt off the whiteboard. And if you listen closely, you can hear running over the letters. Okay, Simon Kelberg. Hello, Simon. I'm glad you joined in. So what have we talked about so far? Subdivision, sixteenth notes, 4/4 timing. Oh, here we go. Sorry, Simpson, I called you Simon. Simpson Kelberg. Can you explain 9/8 time signature? I would love to. Now check this out. And let me know if you're not up with the play with how I'm going to start this. Let's start with 4/4. Everything should start with 4/4 and then move from there. I'm going to give you a really simple drum beat in 4/4. Rock beat number 1. Bass drum down the bottom, hi-hats along here. Now, really important, guys. I'm going to be doing a lesson on time signatures at some point when I get my mic sorted here. Question, and hopefully someone can answer this. We're playing 4/4 timing, yeah? How many eighth notes on the hi-hat have we got on this beat? I'm going to wait. Your screen isn't frozen. I'm going to wait. Although we're playing in 4/4, how many eighth notes have we got on the hi-hat here? Michael Layton, 8. Now listen to this, guys. Listen very, very carefully. We've got 8 eighth notes. We're going to change this because you're talking about 9/8. These are the type of notes, eighth notes. This tells us how many. How many hi-hats do we need to add to this bar to make it into a 9/8 bar of drumming? Or 9/8 bar of music. Now, apologies if I'm talking like a school teacher and I'm talking really simply and really basic. But this is how easy this is. How many more? Michael Layton. 9. We need one more hi-hat. That's literally how easy it is to change time signatures. Now, I don't... Hopefully with a visual, this is different to me just talking about it. Hopefully with a visual, I just hope and pray someone out there's like, oh my God, this is so easy. Because it is. Now, 4/4. 4/4, don't look at that time signature, it's wrong now. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. We added one hi-hat. We've changed the time signature. Also, we're no longer counting 1 and 2 and because we're working in eighths. So now we actually say how many eighth notes there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Sev, not 7. 7's got 2 syllables. Say sev. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2. It's that easy. Why don't we... Now, what do we have to do here, guys? To turn this, I like this interactive thing we've just landed on. What do we need to do to the hi-hats to make it 7/8? Seven, 8. What do we need to do to the hi-hats? Michael Layton. Michael, top of the class. Take 2 away. It's literally this easy. People freak out about time signatures. 7/8. 7/8 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is it. This is literally all there is to it. Let's say we want to play in... It can get a little tricky here. Now, let's say we take one more off. How many eighth notes have we got? We've got 6. But 6/8 isn't normally phrased like this. This actually looks more like 3/4 to me. So if we're going to play 6/8, you would typically play a 6/8 feel, and if you were asked to play a 6/8 feel in a band, you wouldn't have played that. You'd play something like this. You'd sort of space them like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. You've all heard this. Open Arms, Journey. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Dun, dun, dun. I'm not going to do Steve Perry. The great Steve Perry. But hopefully you can sort of feel that timing there. 6/8. Now, there is actually no rules with where we put the bass on the snare. I'm just trying to keep it really, really simple. Let's go back to what we had, which was this. Yeah. Okay, another question. Michael Layton, don't answer this one. Michael Layton in your good music theory. Let's say we want to play 5/8. Oh my God, 5/8! I can't play in 5/8. I mean, I can play drum. I can't play in 5/8. 5/8? Nah, no, we can't do 5/8. So what are we gonna do if we want to turn this into a 5/8 beat? It's so stupidly easy, it's not even funny, and people freak out. If no one's going to answer Michael Layton, I suppose you can answer this. How do we, this is wrong for now, but how do we turn this into Simpson Kelberg? Take one off. Like, congratulations, now you can play in 5/8. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3/8. One, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It's stupidly easy. Different time signatures. Now, I should clarify. It's not stupidly easy to play in different time signatures. It should be easy enough to understand different time signatures. That's not to say you can just hear a song and go, oh, it's 7/8. Oh, he's doing 7/8, 9/8, 11/8. Of course not. I can't do that either. And sometimes with the level of drummers we're watching, you know, Matt Gartzger, Gavin Harrison, when you're talking about literally the best drummers in the world, it's not always easy to hear what time signature they're playing in because they're very deceptive and they're not doing that. They're not playing it that basic. They're playing it really slick and deceptive on purpose. They're messing with the band, man. And the band has hired those guys because they want to be messed with. They want the music to sound interesting and dense, and there's all kinds of rhythmic illusions and deception within what they play, which makes it not sound like a certain time signature. But my suggestion is to get used to really, really basic time feels first. And then within that, you might chuck in an extra snare hit or an extra bass. And then, can you sit on this new time signature? Can you sit on this new time feel for a couple of minutes on a groove? Can you do a fill? The fills are going to feel weird because they're going to have to fit in different ways. Groove Essentials is a good book for this, the Tommy Igoe book. It's a really good one for this. In fact, it might be Groove Essentials 2 that's got the time signature stuff in it. Let's talk about, you asked about 9/8. Let's talk about some of the 4 on the bottom. So let's start with 4/4. C major scale of drumming is the Billie Jean beat in 4/4. I'll make this small. That's what she said. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and yeah, let's start here. So now we're not necessarily talking about the 8th notes. We're talking about quarter notes. Important distinction. We don't want to get ahead of ourselves, and we don't want to think, hey, we've mastered every kind of different time signature. I'm going to approach it like this. And I'll put a snare on the tone on the 4. So here's a really simple beat. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Let's say we're not talking about 8 on the bottom anymore, we're talking about 4 quarters. Let's say we want to turn this beat into scary old 5/4. What do we need to do here to turn this into 5/4? Michael Layton, if that is indeed your real name. What do we need to do to turn this into 5/4? Remembering, we're not counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Counting different now. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Look at the bass drums. The bass drums are on the numbers. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. We're looking for 5/4. How do we play? How do we turn this beat? What do we need to add to make this 5/4? Give it a minute or so. Christopher Chabert. So it's not calculus then. No, I mean it can get pretty out there, man. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know everything about music theory, that's for sure. It can get pretty out there, but some of these things are probably a lot more fundamental than people realize. They're easier than people realize, I think. Simpson, Kelberg, you're the man. 5 and. Nailed it. 5 and. Give it a bass drum. Look at that. Now we're playing in 5/4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and. Watch my snare hand. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. Let's change this to 6/4 and I'll speed it up. We're going to change this to 6/4. So if someone jumps in, they can help out. 6/4, we add in 6 and. That's it. Congratulations, you can play in 6/4. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 and 6 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. 8/4, you don't hear much because you may as well just be playing in 4/4. But you can keep going, right? You can keep going. You can also come back the other way and look at things like 3/4. Take all of these away and finish at 3 and. It's actually crazy how simple this works out if you can visualize it and see it. There we go. 3/4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Often this will be phrased with the snare on the 3. If you're thinking of a waltz, 3/4. 1, 2, 3. Dun dun da, dun dun da, dun dun da. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. But yeah. Better make sure I cross that out so people don't think I'm writing 6/4 and getting it wrong. What was this question about? Herta. Okay. So a Herta rhythm, I don't know what officially, because Herta's not technically part of the original 40 rudiments, but it's become like a really relevant rudiment, I feel. It's much easier if we write this rhythm in sixteenths and eighths instead of 30-seconds and sixteenths, just to understand it. Now a Herta is basically this. Let's write it like this. What's the difference between a Herta and a triplet, eh? Here's a triplet. Triplets are always even. Well, not if there's a rest on the triplet, but the triplet groupings are even. The Herta spacing and grouping of the notes is not even. It's generally, you could think of it like 2 fast notes, 2 slower notes. Yeah, I think you could think of it like that. If we carry on the Herta rhythm, 1 E and 2 and 3 and. That is the Herta rhythm. Triplets. You can do, okay, this is getting tricky. You can do Herta triplets. There are Herta triplets and no one knows. Queens of the Stone Age. But I think just standard Hertas, 1 E and 2 and a 3 and. It actually resolves after 3 beats, this rhythm. You could carry it on and resolve it however you need to, if you were doing this in a fill. If we just keep the pattern going, that's what you get. That's what you get, man. Get some sticks. Oh, I can't use my sticks because they're holding this board up. Whereas triplets evenly spaced. Let's get our friend, the metronome back out. Go a bit slower because I'm old. No, I'm going double speed. 1 E and 2 and a 3 and 1 E and 2 and a 3 and. If you're playing it in a fill, in a song, you want to do 4, right? You might end it some other way. 1 E and 2 and a 3 and 4 E and a. 1 E and 2 and a 3 and 4 E and. Something like that. compared to triplets. I'm very used to playing them at the double speed, obviously. Hertas. I played them at this grouping subdivision. 1E and 2 and a 3 and 2 and a 3 and 1E and 2 and a 3 and... Hertas sound really good around the drums. Like you could do the 2 fast notes, for example, on the high tom, da da dum dum, and then the 2 slow notes on the snare, ba da dum dum, da da dum dum, da 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 da, something like that. Ba da dum dum, ba da dum dum, ba da da da. Once you know this rhythm, and you'll hear it in loads and loads of songs that are really, really commonly used, especially groups like Blink-182, Green Day, that kind of stuff. Really, Broody. Sounds like Meshuggah's Bleed. Yep, Bleed it's just Hertas, I think, the whole time. I haven't looked at a transcription of it, but I believe it is just Hertas the whole way. On the feet. So yeah, you can obviously play all your rudiments on your feet and your hands. That's a good thing to do. But Hertas and triplets, they're quite different. Hopefully this helps. The Herta triplets I mentioned were no one knows. He doubles the first one. He does this. Yeah, he's doing this. So ba 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 ba. Really cool rhythm. Anyone who bags Dave Grohl has no idea what they're talking about. Dude is an absolute monster. We're talking about Bleed here now. Very challenging double bass song to help with foot speed. Yeah. So what will be tricky about Bleed and what will be deceptive when you listen to it is that because the pattern constantly changes, that changes, and he's doing it on his feet, that changes where you're feeling the backbeats and where you're feeling your hands. You know, it might be on that one, and then that one, and then that one. And it's just going to keep cycling. And because a Herta rhythm resolves after 3 beats, and I think Bleed was in 4/4, it's going to just constantly shift and move. Really cool stuff. Yeah, but hopefully that answers Hertas. I do find them easier to talk about in 16ths and 8ths. And then when I'm teaching them, we'll learn them thoroughly like that, and we'll muscle memory the pattern, and then you just double it, right? To make it, useful in fills and stuff. You just double it and play it in 30 seconds. Just play it slow tempo on the groove, and then double the time feel for the fills. Because if you start writing this stuff out in 30-second notes, no one's going to have any idea what you're writing. Well, I've found that at least. It's just too much. It's just pushing it too much. Oh my God, it's already an hour. Guys, I think I'm going to have to go. I've got stuff to do. As you all do. I thank you so much for joining in. Oh, okay. No, there's something really good here. Simpson Kelberg, again, you're the star of the show, man. You get the gold star today with all your great questions. Right, the thumbnail for this video answers your question. So when you read sheet music, which tom is where on the sheet? It's a great question, but check out the thumbnail. It's a really clever thumbnail. I didn't do it. I'm not saying I'm clever. It's just a clever thumbnail. We read drum music on neutral clef, right? It's not treble clef, not bass clef, it's neutral clef. So we've got these lines, which now if this was, for example, if you were playing piano and this was treble clef, this would be an F, this would be an A, this would be a C, this would be an E, and so on and so on. And then, you know, you can put notes in between. And this is how music works. You know, you might even see a note down here, a little C. Now, with drums, we don't have notes, right? We don't have A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So what we do in drum music is we replace those notes. We still use a clef, but we replace it with parts of the drum kit. Just bringing your chat back up. So treble clef F on a drum kit, bass drum. Treble clef A, floor tom. C, snare. High tom, or tom 1, is in the top space. Now I don't mean above the clef, it's in the top gap in the space. If you start adding in loads of extra drums, it can become a bit of a pain in the bum, to be honest, writing all this out. Let's say you got a double kick. I guess you could write them both in the same space, sorry. Most people tend to do this. Second kick. Middle tom. You can see that we've run out of spaces, right? Middle tom is actually bisecting the line, which would be treble clef D. Mid tom. You following me there, Simpson? And hi-hats. There's actually no universal notation for this stuff, unfortunately, but hi-hats tend to be sitting on the top line. Ride, again, this is where things can change depending on what book you're reading from. I like to put ride, you know, here. And crash even higher. I think the best way to remember this is to keep this thumbnail that I've used for the video. It shows you where everything is in the clef. It's really smart. And yeah, that's it. These three can move around, and obviously you can have extra snares, extra toms, and all that stuff. And they tend to just put those in the line. And I think that's about it. There's a whole bunch of other notation type things like cross stick, ghost notes. They tend to write like this. Little bracket around the snare. Cross stick, if you're playing cross stick, they tend to put like a snare note with a line through it. All of this stuff is pretty logical. I mean, that actually looks like a stick going across a snare. Think of the bass drum on the clef as being on the bottom. Bass drum on your drum kit is basically on the bottom of your drum kit. Floor tom, you know, pitch wise, think it coming up, next one up. Snare, the middle. Snare's like the heartbeat, the middle of your drum kit. High tom is the highest drum, typically, on your drum kit. And then we get into the cymbals. hi-hats right there, then ride, you know, think of it as a little bit higher perhaps, and crashes tend to be up a bit higher. Yeah, I really should sign off now. Thank you so much for joining in on this impromptu terminology chat. Hopefully you got something from it. And yeah, I will be doing some proper lesson stuff. As soon as I get my mic, we're going to head into it and we'll get some practice pad shred going and all sorts of stuff. So yeah, thank you so much for the kind feedback, guys. I really appreciate it. And it's good to chat with you guys as always. And have a great day, a great week. And there's a cool video coming out tomorrow. Check it out. Some phenomenal facility, time signatures, all the good stuff that we're talking about today. And we've got that in spades on tomorrow's video. So hopefully you enjoy it. All the best, guys. Ciao.